You ever find yourself stuck in a really boring meeting, just wishing you could, I don't know, stop time? Well, today we're diving into Freestyle Man in Office, an indie sandbox game that takes that exact fantasy and just runs wild with it. We're talking about unleashing total chaos in what is probably the most mundane place you could imagine, the office. And get this, the game's own description just hits you with these wild questions right out of the gate. I mean, this sets the tone perfectly for the bizarre, rule-breaking experience we're about to unpack. So, what exactly is going on here? Okay, first up, let's get into the core idea. To really wrap your head around this game, you gotta throw out any notion you have of a typical office simulator. This is, well, it's something else entirely. At its heart, this thing is a pure sandbox. You know, think of it less like a game with a big story and more like a digital toy box. Your setting is a modern office, sure, but your goal is just to play, to experiment, and to see what kind of cheeky, hilarious situations you can cook up. So you're not just an employee here, you are basically a super-powered agent of chaos. The whole fantasy is about completely subverting the rigid rules of corporate life, bending reality itself within those beige cubicle walls. So, how do you actually do that? How do you go about breaking reality in this corporate world? Well, that brings us right to our next section, the powers and the gameplay. Let's look at the tools you get to cause all this mischief. The way you play is actually super simple, and it's really designed for quick sessions. You just wander around the office, use your strange powers on your unsuspecting colleagues, you earn points for doing it, and then you use those points to unlock even more ways to interact and cause mayhem. It's this breezy, repeatable cycle that's just built for experimentation. And this is where the game gets truly wild. The toolkit you're given is just absurd. We are not talking about simple stuff like a double jump. As you can see, you can literally freeze time, hypnotize coworkers, and even fundamentally change the laws of the game world itself. It's an absolutely bonkers set of skills. And the progression system keeps things really light. You're not going to be managing some complex skill tree here. Nope. You're just earning points to make your powers better and to unlock new scenes and interactions. This design really encourages that, okay, just one more run feeling, just to see what else you can unlock. All right, let's get into the evaluation. What does this game do really, really well? Because there's core design choices here that make it a genuinely fun and unique experience, especially if you're in the right mood for it. But, you know, those same design choices create some trade-offs. So to give you the full picture, we've got to talk about the not so good stuff too. The areas where the game's focus on simplicity might leave some of you wanting a little more. And this slide really gives us the full picture side by side. On the plus side, you have this incredible toy box freedom. The controls are simple, the setting is goofy, and it just begs you to experiment. But the other side of that coin is that the simplicity leads to pretty shallow systems. And look, that's a deliberate choice. The goal isn't deep strategy, it's immediate, chaotic fun. But because of that, repetition can definitely set in, the UI can feel a bit busy, and like we said, the narrative is extremely light. So, the crucial point is really captured perfectly in this quote. This is the absolute key to understanding the game's whole philosophy. If you go in expecting a deep story, you're gonna be disappointed. But if you go in looking for a playground, you'll find exactly what it offers. Alright, we've looked at the premise, the gameplay, the pros, the cons. So with all of that in mind, what's the final verdict? What's the bottom line here? It really all comes down to this one simple question. Is this a game for you? Well, this game is for the player who loves to tinker. It's for someone who just wants to jump in for a quick session, mess around with some wild powers, and have a good laugh at the absurdity of it all, without having to commit to some long, complex story. But, and this is a big but, if you're a player who craves deep character progression, intricate RPG systems, and a rich narrative, yeah, this one probably isn't for you. Its biggest strength, its simplicity, is also the very thing that will make it a pass for fans of more complex games. Which, you know, leaves us with one final thought. The game is a total fantasy about breaking all the mundane rules that govern our lives. So it kind of makes you wonder, if you had these kinds of powers, even for just one day, what rules would you be most tempted to break? Something to think about.